Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Haidt.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And this week, Nick Mage continues because we've got a very
Continues.
exciting lineup. And this is a movie. This week, we're doing a movie. Monica and I had seen before. Sydney, what?
I can't believe we're doing a movie.
What? Okay, I was like, what did I say? Oh my God, it's just we're getting warmed up. We've been away. We're getting back into groove.
This is our big reunion. We haven't recorded in 1 month. So if we sound insane, that's why. But if we sound extra good, that's why.
Why?
We saved up all of our juice for this moment to really just, make it an extra special episode, I think. Because
Juice on the loose, baby.
we're doing movie called Mom and Dad from 2017. It actually had a theatrical release in 2018, but it made its one festival circuit. Maybe it did multiple. I don't know. It did at least one festival in 2017.
I feel like that's like always the case with every movie.
Yeah.
We say the year and it's the year
we go by what's on
not a
IMDb.
con.
It doesn't really matter anything.
What the internet
IMDb
says.
is my Bible. So that's how it works. That's just how it works. But yeah, I think that Mom and Dad is a movie that more people should see because it's fucking insane. And it's got Nicolas Cage at not his cagiest, but it's up there.
It's
This is high
pretty
up there.
based for Nick Cage.
This is high octane Cage. It is, and I forgot how full on. He just says things so weird. He just says things so weird all the time. He makes
also
the
the
brave
facial
choice.
expressions.
Sweetheart, you are not seeing that. Boy. Like, why? What's with all the pauses?
It's just no one ever has
hit
spoken
the
like
light.
that before, and they never will again.
Should we start talking like that?
Of course.
Maybe. Really put some emphasis in there.
How long would this podcast take if we all started talking like that?
It would be over 2 hours, that's for sure. And I'm determined to have this one less.
No,
than 2
people
hours.
want it to be really long. They want us to take a really long time saying every single thought that we have. They don't want us to get to the point.
Love that.
They love that.
It's important to meander.
Yeah, but I'm not going to give them what they want right now because I love to be contrary, which is why I am getting to the point, and I'm going to read the IMDb log line just in case somebody doesn't know what this movie is about. It reads, a teenage girl and her younger brother must survive a wild 24 hours during which a mass hysteria of unknown origin causes parents to turn violently on their own kids.
It's like Children of the Corn, but not.
It's like the opposite of Children of the Corn. It's Adults of the Corn kind of vibe. And it's the perfect follow-up film for Mother's Day. Mother's Day just occurred just 3 short days ago for you, fair listener. And you probably are thinking, wow, I love my mom, maybe. I don't know. Family. Wow, that was so nice. Cool. And then you watch this and you're going to be scared of them instead.
Maybe you are a mom and you're like, my kids did not step up for me this year, and this is exactly how I feel.
This is a catharsis sort of thing.
This is the movie I'm looking for.
I found this movie to be strangely timed for me personally because over the weekend I had my first like confident interaction with a baby child where it went really well and the baby loves me and I was like, wow. And then I looked at Adam and he was holding the baby and I was like, whoa. And I was like, is it happening? Am I having that thing where I'm
going
like,
through
whoa,
the change?
maybe do I want to have a kid? And then I watched this movie and I was like, no, I don't. I was like, I still don't want one. I'm not ready still.
Here's
So
the
that's
thing.
what this movie will beat that out of you real quick if you're on the fence. So don't watch it if you're on the fence.
How dare you also send a photo of Adam in a gloriously textured sweater holding a
Oh,
baby, Monica? That
he
is
looked
just
really
too many
handsome.
layers. I showed
It
it
was
to Taylor and
beautiful.
I was like, you're never going to look this good. Hate to say this.
Well,
Hate to say it.
bold
Yeah,
statement.
he looked like a true
Taylor
datum
doesn't
in
like
that
to
moment.
wear textured sweaters. He'll just never look that good.
Oh my God.
Wow. Well, it's a missed
know?
opportunity because a textured sweater would love to meet him.
I know.
So it's really too bad. It's really too bad. We'll see what we can do while you're in town.
It'll be way too hot.
Pin him
It's
down.
been cold lately, Sydney. I don't know. It's
It's
been real
supposed to be
May
like
gray.
90 something degrees that when I'm
It's
there.
literally gonna be
Can you change your
95
trip
degrees.
and come tomorrow? Maybe
Right.
you could catch it real quick, or
On it.
It's coming. It's going to be super fucking hot just in time for us to spend an entire day in the blazing sun at the fucking Renaissance Fair. So God hates us, but I already knew that.
Right. We've been
It's
new.
very, very disappointing. But yeah, I really like was contemplating baby thoughts like hours ago, and then I watched this movie and I was like, oh my God. Because it is a very silly and a very stupid movie, but it does like it's so interesting because it's trying to say like interesting things and then it decides it doesn't want to anymore. It's like a really interesting movie in that way.
well, I found an interview with the director actually, that I kind of skimmed. And part of what he was saying is that the idea for the movie was inspired by the realization that he had that like your sole purpose in life in many ways once you become a parent is to serve your children, and I thought that was an interesting takeaway considering the crisis that both parents seem to go through in this film of being like, what am I doing? Is this all that I'm doing? What else is there
But-
for me?
But here's my
It-
thing also, and I will say, like, yes, as a parent, like you will serve your children because like it is your job to like raise them and provide for them and do all this stuff. But like you don't have to lose yourself when you have kids. And like a lot of the times, especially society, you you tend to like take up this whole new identity of like, oh, I'm a mom, or oh, like dads really don't do it that often, because again, dads have the privilege of not having to do that, right? Like dads can
Mhm.
still have hobbies, dads can still leave.
Dads are allowed to be
still-
selfish and moms have to be completely selfless.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but it's like you don't act I don't know. My parents drug me around to like everything that they went to. Like you don't have to revolve your life around your kids. Like
Yeah, and
they could just be a part of it.
I think that is something that we're lucky to have more access to as modern women in 2025, at least for right now. Like we do have like the option to like have a career, like the dad can get baby leave. What is that called? Paternity leave. There we go. Baby leave.
Baby
you
leave.
see, I'm a novice. You know this. But like it it's a good reminder, this movie, like to not have your whole identity tied up in that if you can, because then it does come to that point 18 years down the line, 15 years down the line, whenever your child reaches that age where they start to hate you, that like you're not going to have that same relationship. But it's just scary because like I got little like excited about the idea of having a little cute baby over the weekend, and then it's like, okay, but then they grow up and they become their own person. And like it would be so devastating to go through what Selma Blair is going through in this movie, where like she used to be best friends with her daughter, and then now her daughter's like, whatever, I'm Facebooking right now, I can't talk to you. Like that would be really, really difficult. And it is hard. What I thought was super interesting, and I didn't totally pick up on this the first time because I wasn't expecting to think any thoughts at all watching this movie because I'd seen it before, thought nothing then. But now that I'm a film critic, there's that
Now that we're
one.
very serious podcasters.
Now that we're very serious
We're
podcasters,
professionals.
I've learned that usually when there's a professor and the professor is giving a lecture, the lecture is timely to the themes of the film. So he gives that teacher gives that speech about planned obsolescence, about like how Apple will make your phone die in 5 years. So you'll want to buy the new phone, and like you'll always be looking for that newer, flashier model. And then relating that to the idea of parenthood and how like you are hardwired to want to create the new flashier model, but then you make that. This is literally like what part of the argument is in the movie. Like I've read an interview with Brian Taylor. It's like then you having a child makes yourself obsolete once they grow up and they become the new you. And I was like, that is such a fucked way to look at parenthood. That is so fucked up. Damn, Brian.
Well, but here's the thing. That's how that's one of the reasons why the government is like so freaked out that we're not having kids is because like who's going to replace us in the workforce?
Who's going to
There's too
pay
many
into
millennials
Social
anyway.
Security when all of them want to retire?
Yeah, like go fuck
Yeah.
yourselves. You did this to yourself.
We have to have a habitable world in order to bring little babes into it, But yeah, I wasn't expecting this movie to be trying to say a single fucking thing. And then I think that it decided it was done doing that as well too, because this movie really tries to like build a world. At the beginning, there are so many little things going on where like this movie like really parallels like a zombie movie in a lot of ways.
Especially when they like duck against the car.
Yeah.
Girl whose name is not Chloe, that's her name in 13 Reasons Why. What's her name? Carly and her friend Riley. When they're at this school and there's that scene where like all of the parents are gathering at the gate and then they start chasing them. They have that scene where they like duck against the cars, and that's such like a zombie movie visual as like the monsters all rush by them.
Yeah, and it's also like the whole emotional crux of zombies where it's like you see someone who looks like the person that you love, but they've changed and they now want to fucking
Thirst
eat
for
you.
you.
Or thirst for your blood or your brains or just to kill you in this one. But yeah, I think there's so many interesting things that they set up in this movie, and like I don't know why they don't ever explain them, but I also fucking love that they don't ever explain them because it keeps the scope of the movie so small, and that's what I like. I hate when it turns into a huge giant thing unless you do it really well, and there was no way that this movie was going to do it really well, unfortunately, in my opinion. So I think the way it worked out was pretty good. But it was so interesting, like all the hints at the beginning of them being like, is this a terrorist attack? Like people trying to like wipe out America by turning people against
Their kids.
biology and their nature against their kids to like wipe out the next generation. And it definitely is something that is premeditated because it's this static, and the static has some sort of message in it that changes the parents. Like every time that a parent that we like see the whole thing, we hear the static, or you see the adult see the static.
You hear the like tone.
Yeah, the like white noise, and then they go do some crazy shit, So it's very interesting, but I think it's also a very fun choice that they're like, fuck you. You don't get to find out. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
It really made a lot of people on Reddit mad, though.
It kind of made me mad also a little bit. Not even gonna lie. Like at the end, I was like making dinner. I was like peeling apart my rotisserie chicken, and I was like, "What the fuck caused it?"
Well, I think that is like an interesting aspect of this movie is You know me. I mean, remember when we talked about Hell House LLC and then at the end of the movie they go, "We never figured anything out." And it's like when you are so blatant about it and we never figured anything out, it's like, well, that's very convenient for you as the
It's like,
filmmaker,
oh,
isn't
great, you
it?
didn't think
A
about it.
great plot point.
But when you just contain the scope of your movie, I think that can be done in a very compelling way.
Mhm.
And I think this movie, if you broadened that scope to go for longer or to really get into the whys and the hows, you're making an entirely different movie at that point. It's not
Yeah.
about who wants to do this, it's not about stopping it or how to like unbrainwash your parents or when you can trust them again or whatever. It's like the breaking of that foundational trust that like my parents are the people who will always take care of me and love me more than anybody else in this world.
Yeah, I think it kind of starts with a larger scope and then it zooms in on this family, and it's confusing because it does have such a larger scope at first, and it literally has Dr. Oz. Like,
Would
the scope is so
okay.
wide that Dr. Oz is in this movie.
Can we
Boo.
can we talk one of the things that I literally like weirdly hyper focused on uh for this is during the Dr. Oz scene at one point they just kind of like do a zoom in of like not even his mouth. It is like his like thing and his chin and his neck. Like they're like zooming into the like and I'm just like why are we doing
Why is
this?
that the POV
Why
we needed of
why
Dr.
why are we
Oz?
looking at
He's got
Dr.
a nice
Oz's
chin. Say what you want about him, bad things. But he's got
say
a
only bad things
stately
about Dr.
jawline.
Oz.
I'm sorry, he has a stately jawline. Who knows if it's real? But maybe that was the point there, just to really a vanity shot for Dr. Oz.
He said he won't do this cameo unless he gets to show off his upper neck. Do you know what that's about? Whatever, just give him what he wants.
Man, we don't want to talk to that guy for too long. So,
Let's not get into with him. Give him the neck shot. We'll move on.
so interesting. It's so interesting. Yeah, this director is like, I was shocked. Brian Taylor's like done a bunch of shit, including Ghost Rider, like the Call of Vengeance. Is that what it's
Spirit of
called?
vengeance.
The Spirit of Vengeance, the sequel. So don't worry. Um, don't worry, it's the sequel. And that's why he was already friends with Nikki
Nikki,
Nikki Coppola, and so he said, "Hey, Nikki, would you want
have
to do
y'all
this
ever
role?"
seen
Hey,
Crank?
cutie. No,
I
but
have
have
seen
heard of
Crank.
it.
Oh, did I watch it with you, Sydney?
I
was
think
I was like fucked up when I watched
yeah, no,
it.
like
It was like after one of my parties.
yeah, and
Yeah,
somebody was like, "No, we have to watch this," and you're just
yeah.
like, and I remember being like, "What are we watching?" But
It
you
was
like couldn't walk
crazy.
away.
Jason Statham. He's got all
Jason
the heavy
Statham.
hitters. Brian works with all the heavy hitters. I remember being like, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's not good. Like, well, it's not good. It's not highbrow. It is good because it's schlocky, fucking fucked up
It's good
shit.
at
Like,
being
it,
exactly what it wants to be.
One of the
exactly.
things, okay, what are your opinions on all of the weird sounds and noises throughout this
There's
movie?
one moment where there's like video game beeps, and I kept expecting them to like pan to the parents like playing one of the kids' video games outside the door while they waited for them to get gassed. But then they never revealed the cause of those video game beep sounds.
Like there was
So many
just
weird
so many
sounds.
like weird, and I don't know if it was meant to like spike adrenaline or like make
Or
you
just be like
feel
boop boop beep boop.
insane. But I was
It's
just
the
like the EDM immediately playing as she's like running around from her parents at the end, and you're just like, what?
And then also when Riley has her headphones in, you're hearing that like pussy rap song.
Yeah.
It's like so intense. It did fuck. I was into it. Not necessarily the lyrics, but it's just such a jarring movie. And it's so funny. I read this one article with Brian Taylor, And the interviewer asked him, "Your films have such a distinct style, a lot of quick cuts and unique imagery. Excuse me, imagery. It's my first time reading. I'm so sorry. Infused in between adrenaline-filled scenes. Where did you develop your style, and what and who are your inspirations as a filmmaker?" And Brian Taylor's like, "I think a lot of my style just comes from being a generally ADD kind of person. So I
Yeah.
get bored really easily." This is a direct quote. And I kind of gotta get things really easily. And it's like, I got it and I want to move on, even though a lot of the movies I watch, I tend to like slower movies. I love slow movies, but somehow when I'm making the movie, I just get bored easily and I just always want to just get to the next thing and get to the next thing. That is a direct quote. I didn't mess up except for when I said imagery. So that's the type of guy Brian Taylor is, and that makes a lot of sense with this film because it does just like jump all the fuck around. It is crazy. The continuity errors are fucking plentiful, which bothers me, but it's part of the hominess of the film. Um, and he also just is got this like irreverence in his movies that like sometimes is really funny, but other times is racist. uh, which I think is really interesting. He likes to do stuff that's not necessarily super PC. And there's a place for that, I guess. It was 2017. But there's a lot of things in this movie where I was like, do we have to do that too? I don't know
Right.
if we had to do that. I don't know if we had to do that specific thing, but thank you so much. I was like, just keep it to Nicolas Cage and the porn stuff. That's bad enough, but I thought it was fucking hilarious. But yeah, he's an interesting guy. It's a totally very strange movie, but it adds to the comedy of it all, because it is so not taking itself seriously.
Monica, did you read the Rue Morgue interview? Is that one of the ones that you looked at, or did you look at something different?
I restarted my computer, so my tabs are gone.
Who can
So
say?
yeah,
Who
I don't
knows?
know. I don't think I read that one. I think mine was like film inquiry or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. What was in
On
the
the
Rue
Rube
Morgue
Morgue
one?
one, he said that he is tone agnostic. Um,
Interesting.
he says he's perfectly happy to do a straight dramatic scene that goes into something utterly ridiculous, that goes into something terrifying, that
Oh,
goes into something funny.
I
So
did
he's
read
a
this.
really big fan of like hopping around in that sense rather than trying to create something that's like stylistically consistent, which I think
Huh.
really works for this. I don't know how well it would work for other films necessarily, but I think it really works here partly because the content of the movie is so like kooky, but also it allows you to like split a scene in a really interesting place. Like there are a couple really good cuts. I wonder if I'm going to be able to find one in my note quickly. Um but like there's one where the dad is like about to get Nick Cage is like about to get Josh, I think. And then it like cuts to the him finding the cat outside. I don't remember what I'm talking about.
Was that a cat or was it a bird? I don't know
I don't
what that was. The dead
It
thing
was
that or
some kind of
dying thing.
animal.
yeah,
Yes,
there was
it
like
was a.
mewling in the subtitles, so I assumed dead cat surrounded by
Well,
not
it was
vultures
still
obviously,
alive. It
but
was
yeah.
It
crows.
was flies.
Well,
It
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 was
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 flies in
crows
the car and it was
first, and
crows
then
on the
flies.
curb.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just like picking at it. I assumed it had maybe had I don't know. I guess I was maybe thinking of that scene from The Haunting of Hill House where it's like she finds the cat and it has the kittens.
Yeah.
So like dead cat
Oh,
but alive kittens potentially, but they never got into it, so who can
that's
say?
yeah. Wait, keep going with what you're saying, but that pigeon pin, I have an idea for another thing to
Um
say.
what I was just saying is he did a lot of really interesting stuff, like splicing things together, one scene to another. I don't remember what he cuts away from, but the scene when he cuts to them on the curb, like eating the popsicle, drinking a beer too,
That is
talking about
right after he's like hits the with the sledgehammer the sunroof
oh, the top
of
of
the
the car.
car, and the
Yeah.
little boy is in the car, and then it cuts to them like right after, that's like right in the aftermath of the kitten slash dead bird slash whatever dead animal
Mm-hmm.
situation. Yeah, I liked that cut too. And like another one that I thought was really effective and jarring was like right after Selma Blair has this horrific experience where she witnesses her sister try to crush
Or
her
to
new
smush the
baby
baby.
to death. And she's calling and she's so upset. And then it jump cuts to Nicolas Cage and you hear moaning porn sounds because he's fallen asleep
Yeah,
watching
at
porn
work.
at work. My guy.
The
Yikes.
hospital scene with her sister, I think maybe was like the scariest part of the movie.
That was legit scary.
Like, you're just like, at first I was like, what is going on? Because I'd like completely forgotten that her sister was supposed to have a baby.
Mm. Wait, Sydney, was this your first time watching this movie?
Yeah,
What did you know about it going in?
literally nothing.
Did you know the plot was that they're gonna kill their kids?
No.
Okay, so like I want to know more about like what you were you thinking thoughts being like what's going on, or were you just experiencing?
um, well, I was just like, at first with the school and stuff, I was like, what's going on? Is it like zombies? Is it like what is going
Well,
on?
right, because they do a really good job in the beginning if you haven't already seen the movie or if you don't know the premise, being like, oh my God, all of these concerned parents really want to come pick their
Their
kids
kid
up
up.
and protect them. It's like that's really the way they lead you to perceive that before you know the inside details.
And then, you know, they explain it to you. And then I was confused. I was like, wait, so why did this happen? Like, what was
Forget
the
that
moment?
question.
Right? That
Don't
was
ever
Let
never
ask
that, you
that
gotta let
again.
that
that
go.
was never
That's
Let
answered.
not for
that
us to
go.
know.
And then, but it was like I also completely forgot, which maybe they wanted you to forget, that his parents were supposed to be there that day.
Oh yeah, they
They
wanted you to
definitely
So,
want you
forget.
to
Yeah,
forget.
that's
I
supposed to
like,
be.
love.
That's the little twisty
so
twist.
like I forgot that, but I also forgot that this is her sister was like having a baby.
Hmm.
Um, and
Well, I think
then
that's one of the great things about this style is because it's so chaotic, it's easy for you to lose those little threads so they come back as payoff surprises later on. So that is some of the brilliance
but
of it. Keep going.
the most I think sinister scene cut for me is like when after she's leaving the hospital and whatnot, and you just see the delivery room with all the babies, and then you see
The
all
dads
the
at the
dads in the window,
Fucked
yes,
up.
and
so
I was
good.
just like,
That's very
uh,
unsettling. No, it's so interesting because I was all over Reddit looking at people's reactions to this. Mostly because there is confusion with this movie and how long it is. Online somewhere it
yeah.
says it's 2 hours and 3 minutes long. And I was like, I watched a 1 hour and 23-minute long film. And then everywhere, some places it says 1 hour and 26 minutes. I'm like, where are the
Hmm.
3 minutes? What's going on?
Right.
There are no deleted scenes. We cannot find it. We think it's a glitch, but it's not a glitch. I don't understand. I love that it was 1 hour and 23 minutes, though, by the way. That is a
Great
great amount
timing.
of time for
That
this,
is a
personally.
great
Though they
time.
did technically then have the time to explain what happens and make it make sense, but they made an artistic choice to not tell you. And I love that. I love that so much. Um but I was on Reddit and I found this one person, like a lot of people were like, underrated Jen, so hilarious, blah, 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 blah. Other people were like, fuck you, it doesn't explain anything, you're a dumb bitch, blah, blah, blah. Then there was this one person and they were like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about that you think that this movie is a comedy, a dark comedy. This is the most horrific movie I have ever seen. As a parent, I was horrified. And I was like, oh my God. That was like a standalone post. They're like, all these people are saying it's a comedy. It's not a comedy. What's funny about it? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like this earnest person who is fucking so freaked out by this. And here's the thing, there's a lot of like authentically really horrific things that are happening in this. The concept in and of itself is really scary. If you'd done this tonally different, this could be something that gets really deep under your skin. I mean, one of the things that really bothered me about the movie, because I'm a sicko and I've been watching these movies for so long now, that I expect them to show me children dying on the screen. They did
Right.
that in what was it? Part 2.
Fear Street.
Fear Street Part 2. We saw the children die. But 2017 was a little earlier, so
And
they
that's
weren't trying to
also
do that.
children dying at the hands of other children, which
Yeah.
feels like
Yeah.
a fair game, but to literally be watching parents murder their own kids is a little different. So I can see why
Totally.
he was like, let's be careful what we
Let's
show. We
just-
can show the bloody key
Keys.
stabbing, but we don't want to see it going into the body.
We don't see the train hit the vehicle, hit the minivan. We don't see. We can't. We don't. We there's like
We
a
see
cut.
some strangling on the football field, but
we
we
don't see
necessarily
it
see someone
end.
expire.
Yeah, you can't totally tell what's happening to Riley as she's being strangled. And also that one shot with the dad drowning his kid, which is another one of the most horrific ones. Like there's a cut exactly where you would have seen him pull the kid underwater, and it's just the before and the after, which makes it less terrifying as well. But yeah, I mean, it's like a fucking dark concept. It's so dark. That's like goes against like the hardwired nature that you expect from human beings and just in nature in general, like the
Unless
urge
you're a
to
pig,
unless you're a
Monica.
pig, Dr. Oz.
As
Thank you,
Dr. Oz
Right.
explains for us
Thank
very
you,
helpfully.
Dr. Oz, for explaining that to me.
Thank God
he
Dr.
was in
Oz
this.
was there.
I've met Dr. Phil before, by the way.
Just throwing it in while we're talking about TV
I-
doctors.
I
Yeah.
hugged him. I
Speaking of
hugged him.
TV doctors.
I
Speaking
think
of TV
didn't
doctors-
Dr. Phil like make Dr. Oz a thing? Didn't
Yeah.
Dr.
I think
Phil
Oprah made
have-
them both a thing.
Oh, it was that. It was Oprah. I'm so sorry. Oprah. I'm so
why did you
sorry.
do this?
I know, but I should give Oprah her credit. She brought these evils into the world. But
Oprah
I
made a lot
hugged
of
Dr. Phil,
things.
and he was really sweaty.
That feels right.
He
He
had just
seems like
been
a sweaty
rocking
man.
out, so you know
Mhm.
he had been rocking out at a rock show, so you know he's
I
allowed
think
to be
he's probably
sweaty.
sweaty all of the
Mhm.
time.
But I wouldn't hug Dr.
I
Oz
know.
just for the record.
Okay.
Even with the jawline, even with the jawline.
Even with his upper neck, Monica.
Even
you
with
have
his
to
sexy upper neck,
resist.
I can let it. I have to let that go. You know, I have to move on to greener pastures. But yeah, it's this is why I love a fucking dark comedy horror movie, because you can go into like really fucked up territory, but you tonally switch things up enough where maybe you're not thinking long enough about how scary the things actually are, or how emotional or relatable the things actually are. But there's some interesting stuff in here.
I also feel like it's probably a very different viewing experience if you watch this when you're like 23 and you're kind of automatically coming in from the teenager's perspective versus if you watch this when you're 38 and maybe you're putting yourself more in a parent perspective at that point. Like, I'm sure that is a very different element of horror of like, my mom is trying to kill me versus like, what if I am doing something horrible to the person that I love and have dedicated my life to most in this world? Just like the element of like, am I the one who is being chased or am I the danger? And I think that is, I think something that like puts a little fun twist on that too is when the grandparents come in at the end and then they go, don't forget, adults are also somebody's child.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was so funny.
It was
When
brilliant.
the parents walked in and they immediately like mace him and like
Mhm.
and then but like they totally are fine with the grandkids.
I have so many questions about the way that this works. And I think if this were not necessarily if we got any more answers about things, but if we had like a slightly broader scope, I would have loved to have seen this whatever we want to call this happening lead to some surprise parentage reveals. Like
Oh,
who's really this baby's father? But again, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, how does this work? Like, does this tap into, is it like literally related to your biology in some way? And so you're only going after your own genetic offspring? Or if you're an adoptive parent, is that going to work on you? If you're a step parent?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the scope of the movie as it is really interesting with that like broader focus at first. I think it's just like fun for one to be seeing all of the various things, especially the chase at the school with all of the people. Um,
Yeah.
but I think in terms of the family that we are introduced with, it is like necessary world building for you to understand that like however Selma Blair and Nick Cage's characters like feel about parenthood or their children or their lives right now or themselves. Um, this is something larger that is not a reflection of them. This is just like a horror event taking place. And they ground that enough with all of the other families that you're not questioning, like, do they feel this way or is this something that's happening to them? But it
Yeah.
adds in all these interesting elements, like with Sun Yi, their housekeeper or whatever her job is. It's like obviously she doesn't have any feelings towards the kids that are. It's not like she's put herself in like a pseudo maternal role in their family and keeping their house together, and so it extends
Mhm.
to them. It's like just her daughter Lisa, who unfortunately gets caught with the meat tenderizer. I think that is one of
Mhm.
the cuts. Is like the meat tenderizer cut to him discovering the whatever on the sidewalk across the street. That's one of the first ones.
Mhm.
But like she's not a threat to Josh or to Carly or to Carly's boyfriend Damon. She's like, "Oh, you guys want lunch?" She's just going about her beeswax. And in theory, if, they had known enough about what was going on to be like, "We're going to Sun Yi's house and Sun Yi is going to take care of us until whatever this is passes. We just need to get through this." Like obviously they don't know. IMDb says 24 hours. I don't know where they got that from. That's not part of the movie. But
Yeah.
obviously they know that Sunny killed Lisa, so they're certainly not going to trust that she's fine with them, that it was just Lisa. Like
Yeah, it's so interesting because like obviously there is something grander going on, but then all of the people that we get to know who we see doing these things like do have like disgruntled situations in their life. Like I don't know about Sun Yi and her relationship with Lisa. That isn't really developed that much, but like this is one of the parts of the movie that I don't love that much either. Like with Damon and his father and that whole thing too. Like it's so brief and they give you so much information in such a short period of time. Like obviously the dad is like kind of like maybe an alcoholic. He's like drinking during the day. He's passed out during the day and then like he comes in and he like I don't know if he sucker punches or slaps Damon in the face and Damon's reaction is like what you're doing this again
yeah.
um which is horrible and then that is also one of the most gruesome parts of the entire
Mhm.
movie is the way that we watch Damon's dad die after he like falls on the bottle and you see it go into his
Yeah.
neck and he's bleeding out and gurgling everywhere. That's like the most gruesome thing we see. And I'm like, okay, thanks, Brian Taylor.
Yeah,
Cool. That
I
is a lot of
think it
fucking tropey shit in there that is not my fave.
the black dad is an alcoholic domestic abuser. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
ideal. I think my bet is that he was like, "I'm doing race blind casting. Where can we bring in a little more diversity to the cast now that we've already established Selma Blair and Nick Cage as white parents?" But it is not ideal, and I think it's tricky because that is where it is the most gore, but also I think in many ways the context allows for the most gore because it's like an adult whose violence is turning on himself rather than
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
kid who's
Mhm.
killing him or a parent killing a kid. So like that's a moment where they can really like
That
get
makes sense,
into
but
it without having to be more concerned about what they're showing. And I think in many ways that allowed them to like overlook the other aspects of it that tie
yeah.
in. But it is a mess. I think it is like interesting in the sense that Damon says later, like, oh, I thought my parents' divorce was the worst thing that was ever going to happen to me. But it turns out in this specific situation, that is what helped me. And like my dad being a drunk is what allowed me to escape essentially in this scene because that was what gave him an advantage over his dad, or at least being able to like evade his dad for longer than he might have been able to otherwise.
And he was
Um,
also saying, like, because his parents are divorced, it doubled his chances at survival because he only had one parent in the house trying to fucking kill him instead of two.
he was not outnumbered,
I
but
wonder, okay, so like if this was happening to us, right? Like,
uh-huh.
do you think our parents would
You
cut
think I
like
could take my parents in a fight? Is that the question?
here's the
I
thing.
would win.
I think I could take my parents in a fight. But like do you think they would like drive to my house, or do you think like would they
Yes.
come looking for beef, or
I think so
Well,
because they
like
drive home from their job early.
that's a
Cage
very
does.
interesting part of the movie because Selma Blair's character sees what happens with her sister and the baby at the hospital, and she kind of is getting a sense of like what the news is. She's listening to the news radio in the car. And it says on the news radio in that scene, like, your instinct is going to be to go to your child and to try and protect them from what's going on. Don't do that because you are the danger to your child. But so it kind of leaves space for that to be like, are they seeking out their child to harm them? Is their child in harm's way just because naturally as a parent they're going to be in the presence of their child at some point? Are those parents coming to the school with murderous intention, or are they coming to the school because there's something scary going on, but now they're there? Murderous happenings are,
Well, I think
you
it
know what I
just
mean?
comes when you're exposed to the white noise. So like Selma Blair is fine for the first like one half of the movie. How about that? Doing some quick math. And then she hears right after she hears that thing that you just said, like, oh, don't go home to your kids, blah blah blah. She hears the white noise like right then. So that's what changed.
but
So I
like
feel like all those kids, like all the times we see people, like no, they'll go to where their kids are. They'll go to where their kids are because the kids were at the PSAT and all their parents came to the PSAT.
yeah, but those kids also live with their parents all the time, right? Like we are full like his parents came to them because they were planning
Lan-
to.
yeah.
But so I was like, would my dad drive up from the lake? Like, would he get in the car an hour and a half away and show up at my house and want to kill me?
I think yes.
I
Ugh.
think potentially yes.
Well,
Like this
I
Alabama's
is
don't.
a
like
stand your ground state, mister. So watch
So watch out,
out.
a
Dad.
I thought
um,
that yeah, I think that like it changes something in your brain and so your like modus operandi like becomes like I must go kill my kids.
Kill my child.
Yeah.
What happens if you have multiple like adult children and they're like, which one do you get first?
I would
Least favorite.
imagine
Then the truth comes out.
Yeah, then you know.
it seems in many ways like they're very practical about it all though. So I would answer probably whoever's closer. Whoever's more convenient to get to first because it's
Yeah.
like it's not necessary. I mean, there's no way to murder your child non-violently. But like they don't need to hack their child to death or whatever. Like these parents are happy enough to gas them at
Well,
least
they
until
just
they can get in there,
and then murder
but
them themselves. Like they're just like, we just want to make him go to sleep so we can kill him with our own bare
we just need to
hands.
wait
With
for
the
them to start
sawzall.
coughing and vomiting. I love
With
when they do their little giggle there, like
with the sawzall cuz it saws all.
Sawzall.
I loved
Uh,
the gun part.
the gun. I was
Yeah.
just about to say that the gun part was so
So
funny.
fucking funny. Oh,
You had a gun in
I
the
made it his birthday.
house, and
Dumbass.
He
He's
clearly
16.
has a favorite.
The
Yeah.
delivery of him saying, "Oh, I made it Josh's birthday," like, is so funny to me. That did make me laugh out loud, actually.
I okay. Well, now that we've said that, really quickly, just some other Nicolas Cage lines I really love, where he was like, "Ass to ass, blah blah blah. Hi, Brant. Anal beads." I died. That was something that I've always needed to hear, and I'd actually already heard it before, but I had forgotten, and that was such an important reminder to have Nicolas Cage screaming the words "anal beads" at me. Um,
I love a
so
good Nick
fucking funny.
Cage-ism.
Yeah, it's so funny. I also just love. I feel like what's the little kid's name? Zach?
Josh.
Josh.
Josh. Zach is his real name, I think. Um, Josh is like such his father's son in a lot of ways too. Like, I don't know, when he's like posing in his underwear in front of the mirror,
Uh-huh.
being like, "I'm a bad bitch." That feels very Brant coded to me. Brant, bad boy who like takes out that girl, does donuts with her tits in his face. That shit was so funny. Did you notice there's like tits in the first 5 seconds of this movie because they show a part of that clip in the opening credits when they're like Nicolas Cage, Selma, Blair.
Oh.
It's Nicolas Cage on one side, and then the other side there's like the girl's tits in like young Nicolas Cage's face, but it's like all colorful. And I was like, are those boobs? What's happening? And then I was like, oh yeah, no, they're boobs. So
There's certainly boobs.
there's boobs in the first minute, just so you know. Thank God. It is that kind of a movie, so it makes sense. But yeah, I thought that the gun safety little joke in there was pretty funny. I wish that they had shot him more. Oh, here's something that pissed me off. Why is Damon always saving the fucking day? Like, could we have the girl do like beat up her mom one time or do something? Like it's always him like popping up from the dead, and he's like, boom, let me help. Then he gets fucked up. Then he's like, boom, I'm back again. I thought that
Yeah,
was annoying.
I want to know how he was able to just bounce back from those two giant blows to the head.
Yeah,
Yeah. You could
dude.
kind of be like, well, they're not after him, so they're not going their hardest, but it's like, well, he got knocked over the stairs onto the stairs below and then onto the ground. So like that is pretty a lot to recover from.
That first bonk from Nicolas Cage, he literally like spiked his head on the ground like he's a volleyball.
He
It was
brings in like
fucked
the
up.
palm of death.
Oh yeah, he like literally like
It's like
bounced him like a basketball's rough. I thought he was done so then. Oh my god. It's so fucking funny. But what?
I looked at something in my notes, sorry, because that made me also think about how one of my notes was like that baby's gonna be born and she's gonna spike it like a football, which was not what happened, which is a little disappointing. But an opportunity that was missed is that the sister has a boyfriend who is not the baby's daddy. So it would have been interesting to see in that scene if he's having the same reaction or not. And that could have given context to like is it a biological genetic connection or is it like just like a larger parenting instinct or what the deal is, but he just kind of disappears in that birth scene.
Yeah, it's too bad. It is interesting the points you raised about like how it would pan out across all different things. Like for me, where I was not raised by my birth mom, would Dawn fly over here from Oklahoma to come murder me even though she didn't raise me? I don't know.
She might be
Would my
busy.
mommy would she have killed me? I don't know. I don't think so.
I think no, because
Sandy would
the
never,
element
actually.
Danny would never.
Sandy would never. But there's like that string with the grandparents where it's like the grandparents are only after Nick Cage. I mean, the
I
grandma
think
is
it's
fighting with the mom because the
biological.
mom is kind of like getting in the way. But they're
Also,
not going
that's
after
her
the
mother-in-law. She's
grandkids.
always gonna fight her.
That there
That
is
shit was
tension
so
boiling.
funny.
Kendall's not even a real name.
Babe, that was so
And
Um,
also,
funny.
like, Kendall is a real name, so I thought that was so random.
So funny.
But like they're if it's about a biological imperative to care for your young, you would imagine that that could extend from a grandparent to grandchild who should have the same biological imperative to ensure the continuation of their genetic line. And it doesn't go that far. It's like a very immediate connection in that way. So I would certainly argue that you would be safe from mommy.
Thank God. I love that for me. Um, okay, what else do we need to talk about here? I guess we should just talk about Lance Henriksen because that's who that is. That's who the grandpa is. I
Mm-hmm.
love a little horror cameo. It's so important. I think there was one other one too, but I saw that on Reddit too, and I was like, I don't know who the fuck that is. So there
Yeah,
might be
there
one
was
more
something that was like, oh, these
cameo.
two people did cameos. And it's like, I don't know. One of them
Um,
is the dad who's like on the news doing the interview. That's like, it is so horrible the way that these parents are killing their kids. That's so awful. For me, it was absolutely the right choice. But it is horrible that other people are doing this.
I loved that part.
I mean, it's like great color for this world. Like it's a very the way that they flesh out what's going on and they reveal it is super interesting. There's a lot of um little hints at points like when Damon first goes home and he sees the other woman sitting on the porch next door and is like, is Amanda home or whatever? And she's like, she is inside. And she says it so sinisterly because she has presumably already killed her daughter. Um, but it is, I don't know. It's like the way that they sprinkle things in is very well done, I think.
Is Damon's last name Hall?
I don't
Because
know, but I
there's
want to
someone
feel
in
like
the
that guy
cast
is his
list
dad.
named Mr. Hall. That's fucking Ibrahim from The Bear. I love that guy. You've seen The Bear. He's a very great character. That is so funny. That he just dies violently and that's it in this movie. Who is I'm trying to find who that guy could be, but I have no idea. I also thought the teacher looked really familiar. Joseph Reitman, is that a person? I mean, he's a person. I'm sorry, Joseph. I don't want to call your
Is that
personhood
a
into
person?
question. He
The
was in Lady in
guy,
the Water.
well, there you go.
There you go.
IMDb trivia said that the guy on the news, I think, was Bokeem Woodbine. Buckeem Woodbine. I mean, I'm not. I tried to find it on IMDb, and he's not listed
Listed.
in the cast.
Yeah.
So I don't.
I figured out where I know the teacher from. Real person and actor Joseph Reitman. He
Real
was in
person.
He was in First Kill. That fucking awful lesbian vampire show that had
Aw.
one season on Netflix. That also had White Lotus star, what is it? Sarah Catherine Cook, is that her name? Yeah, Sarah Catherine Hook, not Cook. Oh my God. Sorry, the trailer started blasting in my ears right now. I was like, I can't
Hate
handle all
that
this
about
lesbian
IMDb.
vampirism right now. Okay, give me a sec. But I mean, that's just such a good twist. And having the grandparents come in, having it be iconic horror folks, just a brutal fight to end it all. And I also thought it was interesting the like the gender stuff they do in this movie. I don't know if that's a great way to refer to it, but like they really like align like the mommy with with
Yeah.
the little girl and the daddy with the son. And I
Yeah.
found that to be like annoying.
I agree. I wonder if they also were concerned about the optics of like Nick Cage trying to kill his teenage daughter potentially, and that's why they like just subsected it. And but I do think that kind of feeds into the theory of you go for your most favorite, maybe. Um,
Yeah. I
that's
just
the
thought it was
child that you're
annoying.
most focused on, but I agree.
Also, too, it goes back to that whatever the teacher scribbled across in large letters on his
Planned
chalkboard.
obsolescence.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because, like your daughter is gonna replace you at one point, and like your son is going to replace you at one
fair.
point. Know what I mean?
And
So
they
I
get into
wonder
that with
if
Riley and her mom when the moms are at the gym earlier and then they go get like a drink or whatever afterwards. And the
What was
mom
that
is
booty
like,
class?
I watched
yeah,
her
that was
changed
so
in the
funny.
mirror. And all I could think was, one day those tits are gonna drop, you little whore. Is that wrong? So, like, she's already comparing and contrasting herself as like women in this world, me versus my daughter.
Yeah.
I can't be hot anymore. She's coming into her hotness. Is she taking the space that I occupied? Are we in competition with each other? And I wonder how much like little things like that are sort of foreshadowing that there's already something going on. Like we get a moment with Nick Cage in the beginning where we hear the tone and he kind of does like the death stare before he snaps out of it. But obviously he's doing a lot of like joking threats like 10, that's not a guarantee for you or whatever. So I wonder
I
if
think he's kind of an asshole.
yeah, I know, but that's my question is like, is that just to show that these parents are like flawed, sometimes horrible human beings? Or is that like the start of something? The tone is what makes me think it could be part of things, but the tone isn't necessarily related to the static.
I don't agree. I don't think that it's the start of them like doing this. I think that it's to bring up that parents sometimes have this thought of frustration or violent
Of like, I'll
frustration
kill you.
towards their children. Because that's like part of like the whole like thesis statement for the whole movie, in my opinion, where it's like, oh, sometimes you're just like, I just want to kill my kid because they're driving me crazy. It's like taking that idea to the nth degree. So they're showing all of these parents like have that feeling about their kid already in some regard. And then they hear the white noise and then that flips the switch, in my opinion. Because there's also like, I don't know, another thing that's not totally explored is like what the fuck is going on with Selma Blair once she's exposed to the sound, because she has moments where like it seems like her love for her child is coming through and
It
she
seems like
still
there's a
is
moment in the
protecting
kitchen.
her in the kitchen. Yeah. There's some moments where it seems like she's like almost fighting it, but then they don't do anything with that. So never mind. Don't talk about it. I don't know. I don't know. It's like almost a thing. So I can see why the folks of Reddit some folks of the Reddit were frustrated because it could go there. I want someone to do this concept again, honestly. This movie didn't need to go there. This movie didn't need to be everything, but I think this is a really interesting concept and it could be redone in many different tones. With different like wildly different effects. So I think it should happen.
Yeah, I think it is interesting because it kind of lends itself to this like when I'm not directly looking at my child, I have perhaps less murderous urge, but then it's also like I am looking at my child and I feel urge to protect, but then I change my mind and I'm gonna pick up the meat tenderizer again. Um, if it is all related to the static, do you just need to hear the static one time, or do the effects wear off and they need to keep being exposed to the
That's
static?
interesting. Yeah.
Like, do you hear the static once and you're like activated, or is it like you need to be hearing the static actively? I think there's a lot of room for lore to be explored, and I agree. I don't think it is like necessarily 100% consistent the way that it's portrayed in this movie. Um, but
They weren't
I like the
going for
tone.
consistency. Yeah. They're
They're going
going
for fun. They're
for
trying to have
they're
fun.
Yeah.
they're trying to backhand you tonally every other minute because Brian thinks that's fun and I think it's fun too. There you go.
They do have like interesting discourse though. Like I thought that the scene where Nick Cage is destroying his pool table, and then that he has
Yes.
like the not I wouldn't exactly call it a heart to heart necessarily with his wife. Um, but because of his tantrum, they end up like having a conversation. And I think that
I
is a
love those
very
monologues. I love both of
yeah.
them. They're
And
really
it's a
good.
very interesting look at like the different gendered experiences of parenting. And I think in many ways, I don't think that necessarily Brian Taylor was trying to make commentary on patriarchy, but I think there is a read there in how patriarchy helps men and also harms men at the same time, because the dad is like having to shove down every negative experience he's having until it gets to the point that he is physically violent, destroying things, freaking out because he feels like I have nothing and this one thing is being taken away from me, when it doesn't even occur to him that his wife has to make 1,000 bazillion sacrifices daily that he will never know about or have to acknowledge meaningfully, and they're invisible to him. And the one time he has to make the sacrifice, it's like, ah! Like, I think it is there's a lot of interesting dialogue in there about the way that men and women are expected to cope with things or not cope with things. Women can have their feelings, but they have to be completely selfless in their actions. Men are not allowed to have feelings, but they can be selfish in their actions.
Yeah, I think Brian Taylor was trying to say something with some of this stuff too, because there's the other scene with Selma Blair where she goes back to her old boss and he is all over her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Oh, you always said I could come back whenever I wanted, and now's that time." And he was like, "Oh no, that's not gonna
I
happen."
meant like 6 months later.
Yeah,
Right? You've
like
been gone
you
for
should go
15 years.
take some classes. And so like she wants to take back her autonomy, but she can't because that door is closed and because she's not taken seriously in that world now that she is a mother.
Okay,
um
but also too, like she's a designer. She like it's been 15 years. Just technology alone. It's actually pretty solid sound advice.
Did she bring a portfolio with her? Or did she just go up and go, "Hey, girly pop, remember how you
she
used
was
to flirt
having
with
a
me? I'm trying to
crisis.
cash in again. I know I can only get your attention if I use my sexual wiles. So again, that is commentary. Must flirt to have the door open to experience even, and then it is
Yeah.
still slammed in my face. But I also was like, yeah, maybe you should be taking I think maybe he means it in the way that she interprets it, which is like go take a Zumba class.
Yeah.
But like go take a graphic design class or your local community college or whatever. Or like I don't know, if she had come to him being like, here's what I have still been working on in my own time, maybe that would have been different. But also again, this movie's not about that. So
Yeah.
No, there's
side
like
quest about
side.
re-entering the career world.
It's interesting. It's an interesting movie about losing yourself in parenthood and then also a rage virus that makes you kill your children. How interesting.
Well, because I liked that scene too in the car that we talked about a little bit already, but it's the idea again that like to be a mother, you have to be completely selfless and give up everything about yourself to serve your child. But then
Mhm.
once your child needs you less actively, now that's the only role you know how to fulfill. And now you're coming across as like needy to them because you need to be needed, but they don't need you anymore. And so you're just kind of like drowning, trying to figure out like, what am I if I'm not filling this role? I just think how sad.
I agree. It's scary. It's a scary concept, but it's a fun movie. Touching on some very dark, deep, insane things, but jerking you around so much that you don't have to get that deep. But don't worry, everyone. We at Spooky Tuesday are here to make you feel sad about it. So don't worry.
We got you.
We got you. Um, but are we ready? I guess we should talk about the end, the very, very end, real quick, and then I feel like we're ready for our segments.
I have a couple visuals I'd like to point out at one point as well.
Okay, that's totally fine.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Go for it, girl.
Well, I love this scene when Carly is like trying to stick her finger through the holes in the door just to kind of be like, what's going on? And then Selma Blair has the knife. Like, I think that one is like fun and horrifying. But there's a shot near the end when Carly is like covering Josh's eyes and like squeezing him, trying to protect him from the horror that is about to be wrought upon them. And you get like flashes of them like covered in blood and gore, which is this kind of like implication of what could happen if Selma Blair and Nick Cage's character aren't stopped. It doesn't come to pass, but you get these like flashes of it that I think are really an interesting way to imply violence and imply the threat without having to have any of those kids actually getting sawzalled by the sawzall. Um, but I think there are like little moments like that throughout that are just like really interesting and well done. The meat tenderizer when Sunyi first picks it up, and then when we see it later and it's like a little bloody, like just little details like that I
The
think
bud
are
flecks are really good.
are mm-hmm. There's a lot of little things in this movie that are just like really interesting and fun. The toy truck detail when he like slips on the toy truck,
So
the way
funny.
that they
And he had
portray
That
the
was funny.
explosion.
directly into that spot too earlier in the day, so he set himself up for that. But yeah, I just thought the end of this movie, I understand the criticisms, but I thought it was really fucking funny, and that it is a horror comedy at the end of the day. But to have it come down to the punchline, we're like, we love you so much, kids. We love you. You're our everything. But sometimes we just want to kill you, and like that's the end. Like it's so stupid, but it is perfect because they weren't going to be able to do the whole scope of the world thing and figure that out. It would have been a 2 hour long, it would have been
It would
two
have
more
become
hours.
like a superhero movie if you got
Yeah.
into like how is this happening and who's gonna stop
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I don't need you to zoom out. Stay right there, zoomed in on Nicolas Cage's face. That's what I'm here for. So I liked it. Are we ready for
I
a
also
segment?
just love the grandparent
Fundamental.
showdown is so fun.
It's so good, and I love that
So fun.
Lance Henriksen's fucking brains explode
And he's like
everywhere.
stabbing the back of Nick
Wait.
Cage's legs and butt.
Everybody, shut up. There was a Planet of the Apes reference.
No.
There was a Planet of the Apes reference. Did you catch
Well,
it, Chelsea?
I don't know. I guess not.
You what?
What was
Oh
it?
my god! I went crazy. I was like, "Oh my god, the Planet of the Apes of it all." This is right after uh Nicolas Cage dives into his fancy fucking car or whatever, and Lance Henriksen is stabbing him in the back of the leg. So funny. And then he dives in on top of Nicolas Cage, and he's trying to stab him in the heart. And Cage screams, "Get your dirty paws off me!" Or no, "Get your hands off me, you damn dirty!" And it's not ape; it's like
It's dinosaur.
dinosaur.
Then the quote that I wrote down is "fucking dinosaur. I fought in wars, you filthy shit."
Yeah, but the one right before that was "Get your filthy hands off me, you damn dirty ape," but it said dinosaur instead. It was literally a Planet of the Apes quote reference right then and there. And you maybe wouldn't have known that, dear listener, if you hadn't done all of Planet of the Apes. As a reminder, if you write us a 5-star review and you watched all five episodes and you tell us about it, we'll send you a sticker that says "I survived Planet of the April." So don't forget about it. Anyway, I thought that was amazing. And I never got that before. Thank you, Chelsea. Anyway, it's time for our
Sagamuntos.
all right, asking the age-old question, how could this movie be gayer? It's hard because I don't want Selma Blair or Nicolas Cage to leave, but to have a queer couple involved in some regard would have been nice. But also bad.
Yeah. We could have seen some random child's lesbian moms chasing them down at the school. But in many
Here's the
ways, this
thing.
movie.
Who are we to not assume that the nice lady in roller skates that pushed her baby stroller in front of Selma Blair's car wasn't a lesbian.
Roller
true.
skates sounds to me like she plays roller derby.
Gay.
That's true. Any parent that we see could have been gay other than Selma Blair and Nick Cage. We just don't have the information to know. But this movie reminded me a lot of The Purge in many ways, especially with like the larger scope that zooms in on this one specific family, and the boyfriend being so like in the house with them. It could have been a girlfriend. It could have been Carly's girlfriend.
Yeah, I would have been compelled.
Or Carly could have been a boy and it could have been Carly's boyfriend to Damon. I mean, either one works. But the boyfriend, the aunt's boyfriend, who is not the father of the baby, that could have also been a girlfriend.
Yeah, that would have been a really easy place.
And that would have been, again, still was a missed opportunity with it being boyfriend as it existed in this movie, but that would have been an interesting place to go, like, okay, we have two moms here, but one is not the biological mom. Are there implications of that with her? Like, this is my baby. It was always planned to be my baby. This was conceived with the idea that it would be my baby, but there isn't a genetic tie there.
That would be really
And
interesting.
does that play a role? But they didn't get into that.
No, they weren't ready for that conversation. Maybe for the sequel that Nicolas Cage wants to do. Because he thinks it's ripe for a sequel and he's ready for it. And he thinks that the kids should turn on the adults this time. I'm like, okay,
Well,
Nick, whatever you want. Whatever you
Selma
want,
Blair's
sir.
parents could be driving across the country as we speak. You know what I mean? We don't know what her deal
Right.
is.
Anything could happen. That would will never happen, so don't hold your breath. I can't imagine that happening and like what 7 years later. But
Can you
hey,
imagine they pick back up same moment tied in the basement, but Josh is just now like 18 and they just don't explain that at all. He's just played by the same actor. But they
like,
just
don't
like pick
ask
right back up and
questions.
they're like, he's 9. Look at him. He's 9.
Right.
Don't ask a single fucking question. I just want to see a gay Nicolas Cage. Like that's untethered. Let's just untether from this film really quickly and just say something broader. I would like to see a gay Nicolas Cage. Or a
Well, that
bisexual
kind
Nicolas
of
Cage.
could be an entry point into our next No, I need to skip one to do this. No, I don't need to skip one to do this. But Sydney can do her bit in a minute. But if Matthew Lillard played Selma Blair's role, it could be two dads.
Two dads. Yeah.
Nick Cage, Matthew Lillard, and then they go like this.
You do a little smoochy. I'd be interested to see that. I'd pay money at the theater to see that.
I'd be curious if they have chemistry.
Yeah.
Of course they would have chemistry.
I love it when Matthew Lillard and gay come together. I love to have gay thoughts about Matthew Lillard.
What's not to like about that, actually? But
I'm not going to do the bit.
So many more gay thoughts.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, cool. I was like, I don't know how to make it happen seamlessly. All right, we're already on Matthew Lillard. Matthew Lillard could be Selma Blair. I do love Selma Blair in this. She is so beautiful. And it was
She's so
like
beautiful in this movie.
These bangs, though,
are like
bad. They're almost like when they get pushed to the side, even the tiniest bit, like just a little bit split, gorgeous. When they're straight down, I'm like, this is almost as bad as fucking Courtney Cox in whichever one with the baby bangs.
Don't say that. You know I love Scream 3 baby bangs.
Okay, well, I was like, they're doing a disservice to Selma Blair. There's that scene when she's coming out of the shower and her hair's pushed back, and I'm like, let me see her full face, please. She's so talented, so I'm just, it's such a funny fucking cast that it's Selma Blair and Nicolas Cage, but like, they're so good in it.
Okay, wait, I need you to do something. I need you to go to the IMDb page for Mom and Dad. Sydney, you as well.
I'm here. I'm there. I'm everywhere. Okay, now what?
Pause for Sydney to catch up.
I'm not there yet.
I can just send you the link.
I've got it now. My God.
Okay.
Why was it so
You're looking at the main page for Mom and Dad?
Well,
Click on the poster.
Stitch ad. But
Click on the poster. I'm clicking on the poster.
Sydney.
yes, I'm on the poster.
Now
What is
go
that?
one picture to the right.
To the right. Oh! Oh! What a surprise! Oh! Oh!
What a man!
Oh,
He's giving
sir.
Crocodile Dundee a little bit with that
Oh my
hat.
god!
This
All
is the
those
man that
rings.
we choose to fight the 100 gorillas.
And he
Okay,
could do it.
I was
Yeah.
out of town the entire month of the 100 Gorillas, so I have no idea what that is. You can explain it to me later, but like it's just coming up all the time, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? No idea.
Nobody knows, Monica, but it's provocative.
It's provocative. Just like this photo of Nicolas Cage. Oh my god.
This is him in the role if Matthew Lillard was playing his husband.
Correct.
I agree, and I also want to raise you to this photo that I'm sending you right now, just because I just feel like everybody looks on such different wavelengths here. Selma Blair looks like a fucking gorgeous angel. Nicolas Cage looks like he just fell out of like I don't even know the gutter.
He looks a little like
and
he's
put on a
wasting
suit.
away.
He looks not. He looks ill. Like he looks ill. And then Brian Taylor looks a little evil, but he just has powerful eyebrows.
He looks a little like John Travolta.
Looks a little mischievous.
Ah.
Little face off reference. Little face off. Well, Matthew Lillard is certainly Selma Blair, and there's no other placement for him, so I think we can just move straight along.
I mean, we
No,
certainly
no.
can't replace Nick Cage in the middle of Nick Mage. You know
No,
what I
No.
mean?
it's Nick May. Lest
I
we forget.
have the other perfect spot for him.
Okay, all right, I'll allow it.
I want him to be the man in all white with the cunty bandana and the bloody baseball bat.
Oh,
who comes to get his mail?
Yep.
That would be really
Threatening in
good.
the street, swinging his bat.
I want
Correct.
him to be Dr. Oz.
Ah! What
The
if
world
he
would
just
be
dressed
better
up
off
as
if we had
himself?
2 Matthew Lillards and no Dr. Oz.
Yep.
What if he just played himself, but in the Dr. Oz role, and it was like, and here's beloved actor Matthew Lillard to talk about the phenomenon.
Where pigs kill their young. He knows a lot about this, actually. Weirdly, it's his special interest. Okay. That brings us to the dumb bitch. The dumb bitch is the evil mastermind who made the white noise that makes you kill your children. But they're actually really smart, but they're evil. They're dumb because that's mean, and it's dumb to be mean. That's my argument.
Also, horrible because she's dead, but Riley's kind of a dumb bitch.
Riley's such a dumb bitch. I paused the movie when she put her hand in that fucking blender. I had to pause it. I was like, I can't watch this. I don't remember what happens. I can't see that right now.
I couldn't remember how she died either, and I was very prepared for her to get smashed head first into those blades.
I knew she was a dumb bitch when she was buying pills off the goth girl and was just like waving it around at the school bathroom like, girl, anybody could walk in. Do better.
Yeah.
That's dumb bitch
It's
material.
also like they saw what was going on at the school. Obviously, they don't really have full context for how to understand and put all the pieces together. But they go back to her house and she realizes like something is wrong. Like mommy is here when she's not supposed to be. But she has like no hesitation going straight upstairs to be like, hello. Like she can tell, she has this like aura of like something bad is happening when she like touches the margarita to be like, it's still cold or whatever. That was what I assumed she was thinking in her head. It must be fresh. But yeah, she sure, I mean, of course she trusts her mommy, but she walks straight up to her doom.
You can also like touch the outside of the blender to see if it's cold that way. Just as a side note for listeners at home, you don't need to stick your hand in the blender ever. Just saying.
Or I used to have that blender. The blade part comes out very
You
quickly.
pull it from the top.
You just go poop, and then it's there.
Dumb bitch. Okay, I agree. Dumb bitch. Okay,
Oh,
that brings
also,
us.
hold
Oh.
on. I have one more suggestion. It's
Speak
the
your truth.
dad for making the gun
Yeah.
lock combination his son's birthday.
Nicolas Cage.
First of all,
Is a
shows
dumb
favoritism. Second of all, easily guessed by a child. Third of all, you should tell your wife if you're bringing a gun into the house.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
first the
for
pool
real.
table, then the gun. Dumb bitch behavior.
He really is going through a midlife crisis.
He's having
Exactly.
a huge crisis.
He's just
He's-
spending all day thinking about how he had boobs in his face in his youth, and he doesn't get that anymore. And it's tough.
Well, what is that quote? He's like, I had a 90% like kill record, and I was 100% sex. I don't know. Who are you killing?
I
He's
love
like-
the conversation on the curb with the popsicle and the beer where he was like, it was a real pussy magnet, and his son is like, Rose or Dad or whatever he says, and then he goes, chick magnet.
Chick
Like,
magnet.
Chick
And
good
then later-
save, Dad.
Here's
and
the
when
thing,
they-
and if it was gayer, he could have said dick magnet.
Ooh.
Blech.
But I loved when the kid was like, so is that what mom's saying when she's like, oh, I can't imagine the things that went on in that car. Is it about the accident? He's like, no, it's about
Mm.
something else.
No.
He's a real lady killer, that Nicolas Cage. Okay, it's time for knives out of fives, though. It's time to do it.
Correct.
I'm sorry, we're switching. The movie is an hour and 23 minutes long. I'm trying to get our episode as close to that as possible. I'm being militant. But anyway, I know it's got an Oscar. It got 5, right?
Yeah,
Best
yeah.
picture, best director.
It got 1 for script, and it got 1. No, but it did go to the Mullins Film Festival. I don't know if that's pronounced right, but it's a horror film festival in Spain. And it did
Ooh.
win Best Director for Brian Taylor there, and it was also nominated for Best Film as well as the Audience Award for Best Film. But in terms of just general ratings on IMDb, it has a 5.6 out of 10. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, kind of interesting, critics gave it 74%, which is fresh, pretty good. But audiences gave it 40%, huge discrepancy, and that is rotten. So really a big gap there that you can kind of see gets like evened out on IMDb, which falls in the middle. But I wonder, I'm so curious about like why that is, and I can imagine that a lot of people on a first viewing are just like, what? There's no answers. You just cut off in the middle of the scene. We don't like there's
People
no
are pissed
resolution.
about that.
I obviously we've been talking about that throughout, but like I love that it is just like a slice of life kind of movie in that sense in regards like I think that's a fun way to cap it and to let the movie be what it is, which is like a fun romp adventure black comedy without needing to I don't think this movie needs to have answers, and I think a movie that has answers is something super different tonally. So
Yeah. Well, do you want
I
to
like
keep going and just do yours?
sure. I had seen this movie. I actually feel like I had seen this movie before Monica had, because I feel like
You
you texted
recommended
me
it
about
to
it one
me.
time. Yeah. And I was like, I think you texted me being like, have you seen this? And I was like, yeah, it's
Oh,
really
yeah, I
fun.
remember that.
And I think that that's what it is. It's fun. I don't think it needs to be anything more than just fun, but I think there is a lot of really interesting stuff in here in terms of like the camera work and the direction and the way that they cut between scenes and the way that they like build things together to build or break tension. I also think there are a lot of really interesting reflections on aging and parenting and what being a parent looks like and what your relationship to your co-parent can look like and the way you're fostering it, not fostering it. I think it's so interesting the way that they are so like not a team in the beginning of the movie until they have this goal of murdering their children to unite them, and then they're like giggling, kicking their feet, like love each other. Not that they're like being lovey-dovey or whatever, but they're like having fun together.
Like, this
I
is
just
so nice. I miss
Oh my
this.
God, we haven't done something together in so long. Why is that? We should
Oh
go
my
on a date.
god.
I know. I think it is a really fun movie, which is what I remembered it being. But it was nice to see on a rewatch that there was substantive qualities about this movie that are like really interesting and worth like dissecting and um discussing. And I think, on a third watch there probably could be even more that I'm like actively searching for and finding and carving out. So I'm going to go ahead and give it like 4.12 knives out of fives.
Beautiful. So, do you want to go next?
Mm, I'm torn. I like this movie, but it was very disjointed and random, and there was certain things that pissed me off. And so I don't know if I want to give it a 3 or a 3.5 because there were some things like Nicolas Cage's bad acting that made it really good.
Nicolas Cage's amazing.
They were
acting that
great
made it
acting choices.
amazing.
They were powerful choices.
And here's the thing, Selma Blair acted really well in this movie.
She
Yeah.
did so great. Nick Cage, he just let him be himself.
Yeah, he was just
like, "Go
being
ahead,
Nick
kid.
Cage.
Be yourself." And
And
that's why we're doing a whole month of you, honey.
I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. I
Okay.
don't know if I will watch it again, but I did have a good time.
I kind of think you might like it more on a rewatch.
Maybe, but I don't know if I want to rewatch it,
Yeah.
you know?
There are
Like
Yeah,
so
I
many
hear you.
movies.
Sometimes knowing what
there's
you're
just
getting is like so crucial to just enjoying the ride. And then sometimes it's like you're already pissed off because you know you're not going to get what you want from the movie.
Here's the thing. If somebody was like, I really want to watch this movie again, I'd be like, okay, fine. But like, I'm not going to be like, you know what we should do? We should watch this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it could be a fun crowd movie.
I think so, definitely. I'm sad because I was like, oh, this would be a great in-person episode for us to do, but I think that if we're doing an in-person episode,
If we are.
if we are, then the one we chose will be a really, really fun one too. But anyway, I'm falling in the middle of y'all's two scores because I feel like it was mostly me who was like, we should definitely do mom and dad, but I had a support from Chelsea as well. But like, it's not the best movie in the world, but it is a really fucking fun, like, slasher esque, zombie
It's a romp.
esque romp. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really interesting concept. It's a really interesting concept, and this is such an interesting way to do it. And it's so interesting that it can stab its hand like into your chest, squeeze your heart, and then be like, "Ha ha, JK, now it's funny, and there's a funny thing happening." Like, it's really bitch slapping you. Like, it is a bitch slap of a movie for sure. It's like deadly serious and then hysterical, or deadly serious the whole time for that one guy on Reddit. And I hope he's okay and I hope he's recovered, because he was shaken to his core. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's an interesting movie to watch as a early 30s millennial, considering having children. So keep that in mind if you haven't watched it yet. Um, but yeah, I think it's a really fun movie. I think it's great. I think it's Nicolas Cage doing his fucking thing, and that's what we're here for at Nick Mage. I'm here to see him say words in a strange way and me go hee hee. I'm here to have him sing the hokey fucking pokey as he beats the shit out of a gorgeous pool table. That was a hard scene to watch. Um but I do think that the movie in and of itself, like, 2017 is a little bit late for it to be doing some of the tasteless things that it did. Like, I feel like it was a little late in the game for some of the jokes they were trying to make. So I'm gonna give it a 3.8. But with love, a little heart. little heart emoji next to it.
Should I put that in my notes or?
Yeah, if you feel so moved,
I'm
I'll
gonna
put
do
that in the
this heart
letterbox.
emoji with the hands.
The hand.
Heart hands. But yeah, that is Mom and Dad. I hope that you enjoyed it. So, okay, there you go. We started out with Wicker Man, which is a disappointment. And now we're at Mom and Dad, which is a movie that makes you go hee hee ha ha. And then next week we're gonna do something different. That's gonna make you do a lot of things, and I can't remember what all of them are. But Sydney's gonna introduce it, and she's never seen it before.
Once again, I've never seen it, and I kind of forget what it is. Something car.
It is
Drive
not
angry.
car. It's drive angry. Something car. We're doing something car.
There's
know
a car
something
and a
car.
girl. I'm pretty sure, based on the title, I'm gleaning that there might be a car.
It's drive angry. It came out. Can I just guess it right? Did it come out in 2011? I think I'm right. It came out in 2011.
Yeah, we're
And
doing
it's-
Drive Angry. It came out in 2011.
As she said.
As Sydney just said, I'm just repeating Sydney, of course, as we all
Correct.
know.
Thank you, Sydney,
And-
for letting us know that information.
Thank you, Sydney,
You're
so
welcome.
much for letting us know about the 2011 classic. But this movie is unfortunately also starring Amber Heard, so that will be an interesting
Problematic
thing
queen.
for us to talk about. It'll be so interesting. But yeah, this movie is one that I watched on pay-per-view with my dad in 2011. And it is not a movie that you should watch with your dad, I would say, unless you guys have like a super chill relationship.
And even then, maybe kind of
Then
weird.
There's so
but
many
I don't know.
movies
I
in the
haven't
world you
seen
could
it.
watch instead.
Even then, watch anything else. Maybe literally anything else you could
Anything
watch
else.
instead. But I watched this back then and I was like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. And in 2011, I'm sure it was the craziest shit I'd seen in my life. But now I've been doing this podcast for fucking 5 years. I've seen some pretty crazy shit. But apparently it's like in the style of a grindhouse movie. So I
we
didn't
love a
know
grindhouse.
shit about that back in 2011. So wow, brand new eyes, educated eyes. Gonna be crazy.
Let's see.
I'm hyped.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like I'm not even gonna tell you what it's about. Like it's a preposterous setup, and it stays preposterous the whole time. That's Nick Mage for you, bitch. Come on, let's go.
Sure.
But anyway, Nick Mage, continues next week, or Nicolas Mage if you want to get proper about it. But in the
Formal, his government name.
yeah, please, and let us please remind you all, just so you don't embarrass yourself. There's no H in Nicholas when you're spelling Nicolas Cage. I see people make that mistake all the time, and I'm just here as a friend to let you know, so you don't embarrass yourself in another space. Okay.
We
And
will
when
point
you
and
write-
laugh if we see it. So
And if you're-
you're warned.
Writing Nick Cage or Nick Mage for that matter, it's NIC. There's no K. Don't put the K. Just so you know. I'm just letting you know as a friend.
Do
'cause
better.
I'm just letting you know as a friend. This is a safe space. But anywhere outside of this, not a safe space. People are gonna heckle you. Anyway, why not say in a 5-star review, thank you so much for creating a safe space to give me a light correction on how to spell Nicolas Cage. And a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. I think that would be a great thing to write. It'd be wonderful. Or also, reminder, if you write us a review and mention Planet of the Apes or message us and send us proof that you've written a 5-star review, you can get an I Survived Planet of the April sticker. It's beautiful. There's
They're
only
pretty
85
cute.
left.
That's an
Is that-
estimation.
Estimation of 85 left, so get them while they're hot. And why not follow us on social media? We're at Spooky_Tuesday on pretty much everything except for Facebook and Tumblr, where we're at Spooky Tuesday Pod. Check out our website, www.spookytuesdaypod.com. One-stop shop for everything you need to know about us. Also, we have a Patreon, and it's hella fun. And we release cool videos all the time. And then we have a Discord, and we say crazy shit in there all the time, and it's really fun. And we have movie nights, and it's beautiful. So join us. It's a gorgeous place. And there's one thing else. What is the other thing? Oh, YouTube. We're like 3 away. We're so close to 500 subscribers. My God, please help us monetize. We're so close. I could taste it. There's like 7. We're like 7 away as of right now. So hopefully by the time this comes out, this isn't false and we're already there. But help us get there. It would be so beautiful. And you can see us today, not dressed to theme, but dressed gorgeously because we're 3 beautiful idiots. Don't forget. And that's it. It's so great to be back with you. Though you felt no hiatus from us, there's been a hiatus with us because we've been away for a whole month. So it feels great to be back. And we love you. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, spookies.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Great18. That's GR818_. And our podcast art is by Ryan Brom, who you can follow on Instagram at Ryan Brom Art. That's RyanBrommArt. Learn more about Spooky Tuesday at spookytuesdaypod.com and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/spooky_Tuesday.